Jesus never founded any religion. He was a Jew. He followed the Jews' law, and he maintained that the Jewish people, he came for them.
Okay.
Now,
Yes,
when
I
he
agree.
died, there was no New Testament. Remember, there was no New Testament. Now, those disciples that followed him recorded what he did, said, and what happened.
Okay.
And if I have to look at from Islamic perspective, the New Testament would have been like the Hadith.
Exactly, you're right.
You understand?
Yes.
You understand? Because Jesus preached the Old Testament. Yes? Now, carefully, listen. Some people decided...
Okay, I disagree with this statement, but I'm going to.
Yeah,
I'm
but
not
let
going
me
to. I'm not going
finish.
to interrupt
Let me
you.
finish.
Yeah.
No, he's
Now-
right.
But I want to make a precedent of not interrupting, even though I disagree.
Okay, fine.
Okay, great.
Now, listen. The people that followed the disciple,
Yes.
how are you? Left Jerusalem because of persecution to Rome. And that's where paganism came into the religion of Christianity. You understand? So now, anyone who wants to know the truth, first of all, you have to understand the Old Testament.
Yes.
If the New Testament contradicts the Old Testament, forget it.
Is that your
Any
point?
statement in the New Testament, if it contradicts the Old Testament, forget that statement.
So the Old Testament is the judge of the New
It is the
Testament.
judge. Just like I reject the Quran based on the Old Testament.
Okay.
You understand?
Can
So
I-
if anybody make a statement in the New Testament and it
Yeah.
contradict the Old Testament, I will
That's a
not
big
take
claim,
that.
isn't it?
Okay. Shall I respond?
Yeah, go ahead.
Okay, right. For me, because this book has been altered, changed, translated,
Which
retranslated,
parts? New Testament or the Old Testament? Which
all
are
of
you
it,
talking
all of
about?
it, all of it.
Any part.
You have to understand the history.
That's
behind,
a big claim
Yeah,
you
you
are
have to
making.
understand the history behind the book.
You are making a
So
big claim.
when I refuting what
No, he
I
agree what you're saying.
Yeah.
He said that
So
the,
when I'm responding to your point, yes.
no, he
when I'm-
agree. He agree.
yeah.
He said that when it went to Rome,
when-
they changed things. He
Yeah.
agree what you're saying.
No. I just
didn't
said
say they
yes, just
changed the Old
let him
Testament.
move. Yeah.
I said when it went to Rome, they paganized it. I didn't say they changed
Oh,
it.
Is it-
no,
is
no,
it-
no.
is it
Are you
written?
listening?
No, I'm listening. Is it in the Bible?
Are
What
you
the
listening?
paganism?
Are you
But
listening?
please don't jump in because this
I
is a
said
debate
they
between
paganized
me and
their
him before all of
religion.
these people came.
It's
Yeah,
good for us to
let
understand.
him-
You're
let
listening.
him
Right. Okay.
carry on, yeah.
So you have to understand
Yep.
the history of these movements and that book. Yes.
Can I ask you something?
Yes.
Do you think when
No.
No, I'm asking you.
Let me
Okay,
make
go
my
ahead,
point
go
first.
ahead, yeah.
Right. So, you had Jesus living in Jerusalem. He had disciples. They were all Jews. Yeah. There was no such thing as
Yeah,
a
they're
Christian
all
at
Jews,
this point
yeah,
because the Christians were only called Christians in Antioch, wearing green cloaks. Yeah.
Yeah.
These people were called people of the way. Yes.
Okay.
Right? So the Jews were split into three groups: Pharisees, Sadducees, and Essentials. Yes?
And what?
And Essentials. Do you not know
I've
about
not
these people?
heard that.
Essenes is how we typically pronounce it.
Essentials.
Centuries.
Essentials.
Yes,
Okay,
yes.
okay. Let me go back.
Okay.
Right? You had Alexander the Great. He lived in 330. He died. He had two generals called Ptolemy and Seleucid. They split up the empire. The Seleucids took Persia, and the Ptolemies took.
I think you are debating now.
No, of course we're
You are
debating.
talking about who changed what and which part was changed. That's the question.
Okay,
you are
fine.
saying,
Right.
yeah.
You have the Essentials. These people were essentially the followers of Jesus. They were called people of the way.
Okay, that's all you're saying.
Saul of Tarsus turned up about, I'm not entirely sure, I think between 20 and maybe even 40 years after Jesus had left. No, it couldn't have been 40, must have been about 20 years, right? So he never even met the man, right? And he turned up and he started saying a whole bunch of things for which they excommunicated him. He ended up going to Rome. He founded a whole new religion called the Roman Church, later called the Roman Catholic Church, from the word Catholicos, meaning universal, the Roman Universal Church, which was completely distinct.
When is it
Yes.
finishing?
completely distinct to the Nazarenes. Yes?
1 minute left.
Okay.
We were doing 5 minutes earlier, although you lasted 2 minutes, so it depends what do we want, 2 minutes or 5 minutes?
If I lasted 2 minutes, he should last 2 minutes.
Yes, no, that's
We
fair
do it
enough.
on 2 minutes?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
okay
Okay, do you
now.
want to finish your sentence then?
Okay,
We'll do
fine.
it 2 minutes.
So the Nazarenes, they became later known as the Ebionites, and they were wiped out in the 5th century because they refused to adhere to what Constantine the Great ordered. Yes? Thus they were wiped out. Yes? All other Christian groups who are following something contrary to them, they're talking out of their hat. They
Okay,
don't know what
that
they're
sounds
talking
like a good...
But
Yeah.
you know something, sir? When you make a claim that something has been changed,
about. Yes.
you might have to have the copy of the original.
A
Do
copy
you
of the
agree?
original Bible?
Yeah, do you agree?
Well, there's no such thing as a
No,
copy
no.
of the
If
original Bible. because
if
it's
I
not.
make a
You don't
claim,
need to have the original.
if I make a claim
Yeah.
that something has been changed,
Yes.
how do I know it's changed if I don't have original to compare where the changes has happened?
That basically we've got, for example, the Shepherd of Hermas. Yeah, we know that the Shepherd of Hermas used to be in the Bible. It was written about 150 AD. It was removed from the Bible, I'm not sure when, I think around about the same time as the Council of Nicaea. If you read the commandments in the Shepherd of Hermas,
It's okay, it's okay.
the first commandment,
I asked the question.
it's like
okay.
the Quran,
Listen.
that God is one,
No,
He is
no,
almighty,
listen
invisible
carefully,
and so on.
Listen carefully.
Yeah.
It's my time now. Listen.
Yeah, no problem.
The Jews had their scriptures.
Okay.
The Christians have a copy of the scriptures,
Of the copy of
of the Old
Christian
Testament,
scriptures or the Jewish
before the
scriptures?
New Testament.
Okay.
The Jews
Yes.
who failed to follow Christ have their own the Old Testament scriptures, right?
Right.
The Jews.
And the follower of Christ, the disciples, have a copy of the Old Testament for themselves. You
Okay. I'm not necessarily agreeing with you. I'm just saying
because the reason why I'm saying this is because
I'm not
if
sure.
you quote from the Old Testament, that means you might have read it or might have a copy with you.
I have an English copy of something which
Sir,
pertains to
I'm
be.
saying if
the Old
I
Testament.
quote from a book
Yes.
which there's record of people having it, it's either I have a copy myself
Yeah.
or I've read it.
No. You can hear the story. You can hear the story.
Okay, yes,
and
you can
quote
hear
it.
this. You can hear the story. Okay,
I'm
go
sorry.
ahead.
Do you
Okay,
understand
so-
what I said? If
No,
I
no,
quote, quoting is not
Don't
hearing.
jump in.
If you quote from a book,
Yes.
that's not hearing.
Right. Now, if I take two books.
Are you
yes,
listening? I haven't finished, but you keep interrupting.
So I beg pardon.
So the Jews will not change their Bible for the Christians, would they?
I disagree with
the Jews,
the point that you're
listen
making.
carefully, would the Jews change their Bible to suit the Christians' perspective? Would they do that?
Would they have changed their
Would they
Bible?
change their Bible to help the Christians that they detest? Would they do that?
No, of course they wouldn't.
So, if there's any change, maybe it happened with the Christians. Would you agree? Because you
Are
said
you
they
a
went
Christian
to.
or a Jew?
Are you listening? Because they
I'm
went
not
to. You
entirely
said,
sure what you want.
Listen carefully. You said by your words.
Yes.
When the church went to Rome,
Yes.
they changed certain things. So I'm asking, do you think the Jews who had the scriptures will also change it to help the cause of the Christian they detest? Would they do that?
Okay, your 2 minutes.
Okay.
They won't do that. Won't
Okay,
make
can
sense.
I borrow these two books just to make an example?
is Qur'an.
Okay, fine. Okay. I will just hold two books just to make the point. If you claim that these people had a book called, let's say, Old Testament, just because you're waving a book in the 20th century with the words Old Testament written on it, doesn't mean you've got the same book. Yes? Doesn't mean you've got the same
And
book.
what is your proof that they don't have the same book?
Well, what's your proof that you've got the same book?
Okay, first of all, before Jesus came,
Yes?
the Old Testament was there. The Jew
No,
have
that's not a proof.
the Jew
Sorry.
have their
Well, it
history.
is
Are you
true.
listening? The Jews have their history
Yes.
of keeping record up even until today.
Right.
They have the Old Testament. We have the Greek Septuagint. We have the Dead Sea Scroll, which is like over 1,000 years difference, and they still confirm that everything is correct. Now, I'm saying again.
Everything correct. Yeah.
I'm asking you.
That is correct.
It doesn't matter
No,
what
this
your
is correct.
Quran has
Let's
said.
listen to what people say. The
It's
book
not
is
about what
corrupt.
your Quran has
no,
said.
no,
Listen
No,
to
no,
what-
I'm correcting you.
Yeah,
That
but
is
sir,
scroll is
sir, I
not
am
it's not
talking
the
to
whole
this
Bible.
guy.
You know that?
Listen,
Have you seen
I'm
that?
talking
Yeah,
to
it
this guy.
really isn't exactly.
The Quran
Yeah,
also
it's
is corrupt.
Sir, are you
If we
listening
are
to? I'm
taking
talking
things
to
into
this guy.
account.
what
If
you're-
you want to
Where did you
stay
get the
here,
Quran
you have to
from?
be quiet, sir.
No, you don't tell me I have to be quiet.
Because I'm having a discussion
You're going
with you.
rude
When
now.
you
It's
chip
being
in,
rude now.
when
No,
you
you
chip
listen,
in,
you listen.
No,
distort
it's being
the
rude
discussion.
In a dialogue, if they
No,
wish
I don't-
to accept your
No,
feedback,
no.
they'll incorporate
No,
it. If they choose not to, they're free to do so. They don't want to, carry on.
Please.
Exactly.
Okay,
So,
because he and I, we were
No,
on
no,
our own. We
he's
had
being
our
rude
own.
now.
Okay.
He's being
And
rude.
They're
before
welcome
anybody
to
else
the
turned up, we
conversation.
were having our own
Yeah.
private.
Yeah.
I'm just
Please, I'm also listening. Although I'm on his
Yeah.
side,
So-
I'm
so
listening. I know you
basically,
are on
I'm
that
just
man's
correcting
what
side.
I'm
him.
saying is, the Jews
Yeah.
will not change their Bible to help the Christians. They will not do that. Would
No,
you
I
agree?
would agree that they wouldn't do so.
So basically, in order to know
mostly change
where
their
something
Quran
is
to suit the
corrupted,
Hindus.
Yeah.
They
you
won't do
can
it.
take the Jews' Bible,
Yeah.
take the Christian Bible, do a comparison, and see where changes has
Right,
happened.
now,
It's simple.
okay, here's the problem. Here's the problem, which is that they have split the Old Testament, for example, into various different texts. Yes?
Who
So,
have?
the scholars,
Which scholars?
biblical scholars. Okay, don't ask me for names, I can't tell
Okay,
you.
yeah, go ahead.
Okay,
They've
right.
split what?
They've split them into different texts. For
DD.
example,
Doctor of
they basically they say that the Tanakh is from the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him. Yes, like
Yeah.
our Quran.
Yeah,
yes?
that is
Yeah,
true.
yeah,
the
go
problem,
ahead.
the problem,
Yeah.
the problem is when you look at the text, it's written in different dialects. Yes, so they split it in text A, text B, text D, text J, and so on. And they say that this was in 970 BC and this one was in 600. How are they able to do that? Do you know? In the same way that if I, as an English speaker, was to read a book and it was in Chaucerian English, and it was in Shakespearean English, and it was in Victorian English and modern English, I could easily say that this one was written 1,000 years ago, this one was written 1,500 years ago, this one was written 200 years ago, and this one was written to the day, because I can tell the way the people speak and even how they write, because they will add an E, for example,
If I can
on
ask
the
a
end of the
question,
truth.
if I can, let me ask a question. Let me ask you.
As a result,
Yeah.
they
Final-
know
final
that the
sentence.
Tanakh is not the
You
Tanakh.
are done. So basically,
Sorry, was that
basically-
my 2
yeah,
minutes?
So
I swear he was
honestly
talking for a lot longer.
Yeah, listen.
So you think
during,
entirely
during, your
fair,
ti-
2 minutes.
during your time, if you allow the other person to speak, I will pause the clock.
Oh, I see,
until
that's
your
fair,
session.
okay.
I'll
Now,
do that both ways.
It's important that we have some agreement here.
Yes, yes, yes.
First of all, we agree
Yes.
that the Jews will not change their Bible.
Yeah,
to
I
help the
would agree.
Christians.
Of course, they wouldn't aid and abet
Secondly-
another ideology.
Secondly, I want to ask if Allah, your God, yeah,
Yes.
want to send down a book
Yes,
to confirm the previous book,
yes.
yes, wouldn't that be wise to tell the person that you are sending to confirm the previous book that this portion, that portion, this portion is corrupt, and that they should not follow those portions, but just give a blanket that the Jews should follow their book, the Christians should follow their book. A corrupt
is that a
book.
question?
A question to you. A corrupt book. Why will Allah will tell you to tell the Christians and the Jews to follow a corrupt book? Why would they do that?
No.
That's-
Correct him.
that-
The
that-
Quran didn't say that. Correct him.
It is there.
The Quran didn't say follow the corrupted book.
No,
He's
no.
quoting that.
No, he
No,
is
no.
claiming it's
What he's
corrupted.
saying,
He's
He
claiming
said
it's
the book is corrupted.
No, no.
Yeah.
The Quran didn't say follow the corrupted
Let
book.
me state the
Okay.
question.
Which book
again.
did the Quran
Let
say
me
that
restate
we
the
should follow?
question.
Yeah,
again.
you're allowed to.
Didn't
yeah.
say
Yeah.
the corrupted
listen
book.
to me
You don't
here.
find
Okay,
this
thank you.
verse.
No, what he's saying.
Carry on. carry
Now,
on.
if Allah would send
Listen
a new
now.
I understand what you're saying.
A new book, which is the Quran. yeah.
confirm the previous book,
Yes.
yes,
Yep.
and if Allah knows that the previous book is corrupt, why will Allah tell you,
Yes.
coming to confirm the previous book, that they should not follow those books because it's corrupt? Why would then Allah tell us that?
Allah never said this. Allah sent down the Torah, yes, and when it became abundantly clear that they were not following it,
Yeah.
yes, and they had corrupted it,
Yes.
yes, then Allah sent a new prophet, and Allah
this
says
for me.
that whenever He sent a book, yes, He sent with it a man, yes. So a man came to Aisha radiallahu anha and asked him about the prophet. peace be
So
upon him.
Jesus was sent without a
And
book.
wait.
There was a book before Jesus.
Now look, I can't speak
Yeah,
if
thank
you're
you,
going
thank
to
you,
right.
thank you.
Okay.
And she said, "Did you never meet him? For he was a walking verse." He was a walking version of the Quran. So I would say that if you, as a Jew, wish to follow the Torah, you have to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet Moses, because the Prophet Moses, peace be upon him, was a walking, talking version of the Torah. And if you, as a Christian, wish to follow the Gospel, you have to follow the Sunnah of the Prophet Jesus, because he was a walking, talking version of the Gospel. We have our walking, talking version of the Quran.
I think you didn't
and alhamdulillah, we have both the Quran.
You're allowed to jump back in, it's your time.
So we can follow both.
You didn't understand my question.
Okay,
I'm
sorry, I beg your
saying,
pardon. What was your...
if Allah,
Yes.
all-knowing, all-wise...
Yes, no, I understood this point. That you said that he asked us to follow a corrupt thing, which we, of course, he never did.
So, shall I read it, or you can read Arabic and explain
does he
it?
believe in this?
Yeah, go ahead.
You want to read Arabic and explain it
I
to us?
don't read Arabic,
Okay,
so you can speak to me in English.
say, oh, people of the scriptures.
Yep.
Who are the people of the scriptures?
No, we'll go
The
there.
people of the scriptures are obviously the Jews and the Christians.
Okay, thank you very much. So down it says, oh,
Okay, your time is up. Do you want to carry on with this?
No.
Let us carry on, yeah.
Say, oh, people of the scriptures, you are standing on nothing until you uphold the law of the Torah, the gospel, and what has been revealed to you from your Lord,
Yes.
i.e. the Quran,
Yes.
and that which has been revealed to you from your Lord will surely increase. Many of them transgress and disbelieve. So do not grieve over the disbelieving people. Now listen. It says, "O people of the scriptures,
Yes.
you have nothing to stand on if you don't follow the Torah and the gospel."
Okay. Right.
Now the question I'm asking you again, which you did not address
Yes.
why will Allah, all knowing
Yes.
that the Bible,
has been corrupted.
has been corrupted,
He would have told
why
you.
would he still insist that we should follow this?
Right.
Can I say one
and
word?
he did not
Because
say
he
to
didn't
pick and
understand the
choose.
verse. He doesn't understand
Okay,
the verse.
explain it to me, sir.
He doesn't understand the verse.
No,
Yeah, I
that
don't
seems
understand.
very
That's
clear.
what every Muslim
Now,
will tell me.
I'm
I
not-
don't understand.
You don't understand
Yeah,
the
but you
verse.
don't understand
I'm
the
not-
context.
I don't.
No, it's not about you don't understand the verse. That's why he brought that question.
Let's actually explain the first
Yeah.
for us.
Right, now, I'm not a scholar,
Okay,
and therefore,
that's
obviously,
another
they
excuse.
do say that you should study a lot before you start giving dawah.
Okay.
So you've obviously asked me to interpret
Yes,
one
your
of
understanding.
the ayah
There are
of Quran.
more. I can show
So
you
if
more.
I was to interpret it incorrectly, I'd have to come to you later and say, yeah. And obviously, if this gets put on YouTube,
So you can't.
I don't want
can't interpret it,
to.
right? You
no,
cannot.
No, I wouldn't start interpreting.
That's very.
Okay, I will tell you what the
But
verse
that's the
is
Quran.
saying.
Your Quran. You cannot interpret
I
your
will, no,
Quran.
I will tell you what the verse is saying.
I want to conclude.
Your
This is
Quran.
his time. No, you've concluded.
Okay.
Sorry, it's this gentleman's time.
Now you are listening to
This
The
is
Quran
how far
foretold
it should go.
stories. They are not gathering the
Okay, the
evidence.
Quran says at the beginning, and it's a very, very important point, that in it are verses which are entirely clear,
It's also in the
and
Bible.
in it are verses which
It's also
are
in the
less
Bible.
clear.
But this one
Yes.
is clear. It's one of
Yes.
the verses which
So
are clear.
if
They
this
take it
is
from
one
the-
of the
from the
clear
Bible.
verses, then I would
They
say,
take it
because
from the
I would
Bible.
understand
No,
that
this is not
exactly
in the
as you
Bible.
read
This
it.
verse
Yes.
is not in
Yes,
the Bible.
and I would say that Allah is ordering us to follow the law, the Torah, the Gospel, and the Quran. And I would say
Okay.
that there's no difference between them.
That's fine.
One orders us to stone the adulterer, and the other one orders us to stone the adulterer.
I want to say something.
One orders us,
Now,
yes,
Can I say something?
to fight jihad fi sabilillah. The other one tells us to fight jihad fi sabilillah. One orders us not to earn interest. The other one orders us not to
So
earn
are
interest.
those changes?
Wait.
By the
They're
way,
not
Are there
changes, they're
changes in the
exactly the
Let
same.
him finish.
There will be slight alterations. For
Okay.
example, Allah, He says that He forbade the Jews, because the Jews, they committed wrong, He forbade them certain things. Later on, when He sent the Son of Mary, the Son of Mary, He brought a new thing where He allowed certain things were permissible for them after that point in a new covenant. Yes,
That's true.
but unfortunately, Paul, he took this too far, and he started saying, yeah, you could just eat anything. Yes, he saw some dream about birds and whatnot, and then he started saying, you don't need to cut your meat anymore. Yes, kosher
Last
meat,
sentence.
halal meat. Yes, you can just eat whatever you
Now,
want.
now,
Yeah, and
to
that's
conclude
correct.
to you,
Yeah. So I would say yes.
No,
Yeah, this gentleman's time.
let me finish.
Yeah.
Now, you cannot interpret a verse that I quoted from the
your
Quran,
Quran.
Yes.
which commanding the Jews and the Christians to follow what
okay,
they have
I want to say
said.
something because
Leave
Okay,
it.
no, thank you.
I want to make
Leave
something
it.
about that ayah,
No,
about that
he said-
verse.
he said no, thank you.
Secondly,
How about the verse?
secondly,
No.
we are not allowed to change anything
Yes,
from the
it's a
Old
cost
Testament.
if you change anything.
Let me read something
It's
to
there
you.
in the Bible also.
Yeah, that's
Let
true.
me read
you
something
can
to
copy
you.
it.
You can say that, but
Now-
I know for a fact that you've definitely altered and changed your book.
Okay.
So, you know, it doesn't mean
Now I
that.
want to read something to you, yeah? Isaiah chapter 66.
You're going to Old Testament.
Yes.
You cannot find this in the New
Isaiah
Testament.
chapter 66, verse
Yes.
verse
It's the Old Testament that said
15,
it.
yeah.
You cannot alter the
If
word of
I
God.
can read, it says,
I know the verses.
Listen
really.
carefully.
I know.
Yeah.
See, the Lord is coming with fire, his
Yes.
chariot are like a wayward, yeah?
Yes, yes, yes.
To vent his anger and fury,
Yes.
his rebuke and inflaming fire,
Yes.
for with fire with the Lord contend.
Yes.
And then he go ahead and says, with his sword against all flesh,
Okay.
and many shall be the slain of the Lord.
Okay.
Why? It says, those who sanctify and purify themselves
Yep.
to enter the groves, imitating one in the center,
Okay, I'll have to reread this 'cause I can't
eating
follow what
flesh,
you're reading.
eating the flesh of a swine.
Right.
Listen, eating the flesh of a swine, the reptile, the mouse, shall one and all came to an end, declares the Lord.
Okay.
Now,
reread
let
that,
me
'cause
finish.
I didn't
Let me
understand
finish.
what you
I will give you the
yeah.
verse if you want to read later.
Okay, yeah.
For I know their deeds and purpose. Now, if I jump to
Okay,
verse,
but
That is
Okay,
talking
thank you.
about
That's
the
your
forbidden
time. That's
food.
your time.
No,
It's up to
No,
Is it talking about the forbidden food?
the problem
yeah,
with this, if
I'm
you read
gonna
out,
show
if you
you.
read out a sentence which I barely understood, and then you jump to another one which I will also not understand, you have to allow me to actually read it for myself.
because I have to interpret it to you. Unlike you, you can't interpret yours. So if you
No.
if you allow,
If I was scholarly enough, yes, I would be able
and I
to
agree,
interpret it.
and I agree. So let
But
me
the
interpret
difference-
what I'm
the
reading.
We
difference
are all
between
not
the Muslims
scholars
and the
here. We are
Christians
just
Let me interpret
privileged
is
all
that
of us.
we can't go
We are
just go
not
around pretending
scholars.
we're scholars.
Let me tell you something.
Whereas the Christians apparently can interpret it whatever they want.
That's what I'm saying.
Which is
Let me
wrong.
let me
All
finish
scholars.
what I'm
Ladies
reading.
and gentlemen,
No, you will come in.
Okay,
Yeah,
right,
that's
yes.
fine.
Okay,
What would you
actually,
like?
no, yeah, I'd
I
like to,
will
no,
let
I'd
you
like-
speak
yeah,
afterwards,
right.
yeah?
No.
Now it
I'd
says
like to
what?
respond now.
Okay,
I'd like to
that's
respond
fine.
now.
Thank you.
Yes, one more.
Okay, you made a point about our not being able to interpret our scriptures just like this at the drop of a hat, and you can interpret it yours at a drop of the hat. Now, somebody made, Sheikh Haytham actually made an extremely good point. He said, I like pizza when it's hot. What do I mean? And everyone started saying, well, do you like it when it's spicy, or you like it when the weather's hot? You like it when it's temperature hot? He said, no. The only person who can tell you what it means is the author of the statement. And when you have a problem whereby everybody starts to interpret God's words as they want, yes, without actually putting it back to what, if I
That's
said a
original,
statement,
yeah, that's true.
if you start interpreting my words as you want, you can just put any words in my mouth as you wish. So we as Muslims, we are not allowed to interpret things just like this, except that we have sufficient understanding of Arabic, Quran, Hadith, and so on. Yes? So
then-
the problem with the
but,
Christians
those
is
who are
that when
following-
you've taken to just being able to translate what you want as you wish, it becomes a free-for-all. That's why there's about 100 million different groups of Christians all following what they want. This is the problem. With the Muslims, we don't have this. The Sunni Muslims, you've got a whole plethora of Shia Muslims and whatnot, but the Sunni Muslims, we're just one group, and we follow our scholars. We don't just interpret things as we wish. Okay, you can speak.
Okay, what I was saying to you,
Yeah.
we are not allowed to eat the flesh of the swine.
Okay.
And I was reading to you,
Yes.
why is this so? Because most Christians are confused themselves.
Okay.
Okay, I'm telling you, this is about the end time, when a new heaven and new earth will be created. And this chapter 66 is explaining when the Lord is coming to destroy those who disobey his commandment,
Okay.
and institute what he initially planned for man. And I was reading it to you. It says what? For a new heaven
Yes.
and a new earth which I will make
Yeah.
shall endure by my will. And he went ahead and said, so shall your seeds and your name endure, and the new moon after new moon,
Yeah.
and Sabbath after Sabbath,
Yeah.
all flesh shall come to worship me. So this is after the new heaven and new earth.
Yes.
This is what he is going to institute. Because
Right, now,
the plan, I'm
Can I
telling
just
you,
ask, what do you mean by new heaven, new earth? You mean a new creation altogether?
God is going to make everything new.
The day of
Are you
judgment.
listening?
Right, the day of judgment, yeah, because
After.
obviously
God-
he might be interpreting it
God
differently.
is going to make everything new.
Yeah.
Right.
And what he planned from the beginning
Armageddon.
will be instituted again. Meaning
Forever
the
now.
Sabbath and the forbidden food that he forbid us to not and to not eat them,
Yes.
he's saying even after the new creation,
Okay.
this is what he's going to do.
That's his
I'm
own
telling you, it is-
interpretation.
You said you were a Christian.
How do you know that
you
I was
were-
born
That's
into
his own.
Christianity. I
Okay,
didn't.
you were
don't have
born
any-
into it.
I
and I'm
believed
telling
that
you,
God was God, and when
Sir,
they started teaching me
listen
Jesus
carefully.
was God, I obviously
Sir, listen.
left it because
But
it's nonsense.
your
Yeah,
mistake,
you
the
have to get
mistake,
some
But that has nothing to do
I
of
said-
changing the Bible. That has nothing to do
Thank you.
of changing
Thank you.
verses
Your
of the
time.
Bible.
No, your time.
They must.
Where did they
Thank you,
change the
gentlemen.
Bible?
Gentlemen, if you're going to talk, can we take it
Where
elsewhere,
did they
please?
you are not
Bible.
allowing the. this
If
thing
we're going to
flow.
talk,
It
can we
was
talk
very
elsewhere?
nice before, sir.
Thank you. We're having a good conversation.
Yes.
Yeah.
Listen. Listen.
Okay.
Yes, yes,
Listen.
yes,
The
Thank you,
Bible
thank
is clear.
yeah.
You don't need. Listen.
Yeah.
The Bible says we should meditate day and night. That is how we learn it. Apart from we going to the synagogue to get teachings and all that to help us understand it. Yes.
So
but
you are
we-
Jewish. You're Jewish.
Are you
Yeah,
listening?
yeah.
Are you listening?
It goes to the
your
synagogue.
time's up. Summarise, please.
Sorry. Okay.
Summarise. Last sentence.
Summarize. Okay.
Yeah,
So
thank you.
you have to do it yourself.
Okay.
Because you don't even know the Bible well, you jump into a new religion that you still don't know much. And I will advise you, before you go out talking to people,
Yes.
you study both the Bible carefully, understand the message before you go
Okay.
out, or
Okay.
changing
Super,
even
thank
religion
you.
if you have to.
Super.
Okay, right.
He has
already.
I respond. I would say that I don't use the Bible as a proof and evidence of God. I use the Quran as evidence of God. I'm not going to spend the rest of my life studying the
How
Tanakh
evidence is the
and a
Quran?
whole bunch
Listen.
of other things.
I have
Yes.
two more questions.
How evidence is the Quran?
So when I come out and I speak to people, I come out to speak to people purely on the basis of the Quran and the Hadith.
Your understanding.
And not, yes, my understanding of it.
yeah.
But you still can't understand the verse I read
No,
to
that
you.
is his
No,
understanding.
no.
He's right.
But I was cautious and careful, and I have to be, because when I talk about Islam, there are people who they might watch this, and they will think that I'm
I don't
talking
know.
from knowledge. And so many people have been sent astray.
He's being
on
honest to
account
you.
of people
Where is your Bible?
Sorry? Listen.
talking with
I
great
wanted to-
bluster
I wanted to
without
give him a chapter
anything
that
to
all the
back up
Muslims believe
their
in.
so-called scholarly knowledge. I am not a scholar. I'm just a normal person.
But this verse actually is not
Because
saying what he's
They
saying.
believe
Okay,
that.
thank
because I'm
They say, yeah,
sincere.
Jesus said it.
Okay.
And I wish to bring people to Islam, and because I do not appreciate Muslims living in, for example, this country and not having spoken any word to anybody for ages. Yes, that's wrong. If you have the Quran or the Gospel or the Torah in previous years, you had a duty to go out and tell people. Yes, so before the Gospel, the Jews had a duty to go and tell people. During the time of the Gospel, the
have been.
Christians had a duty to go and tell people.
They have
And the Muslims have a duty to tell people. Yes, so I'm doing that, but I'm not a scholar. So if you ask me, oh, what about this? I'm going to be cautious and careful about it, because I don't want to give an incorrect interpretation, and then someone
No,
who
I
doesn't know
have- I
anything
have two
about
more
Islam at
questions,
all
then we end
will draw a really fantastical conclusion.
Okay, now I have two more questions for
Thank
you.
you.
Okay, that's
before
fine.
we end, yeah?
Yeah, no problem.
This phone is mine, right?
Okay,
Yeah?
yes.
Do I, and if this
phone
man
is-
is my, let's say it's my son. It's
We
older
don't know
than
if
me.
the phone is yours.
It's
He's
my
your
son.
dad,
yeah.
not your.
Who knows
Now,
if the phone is yours?
he-
No.
Is the one to inherit
That's why I
this from
say,
me,
let
right?
him say,
Oh,
this is my
right, okay, yes,
Oh,
yes.
yes.
Okay,
Or can I inherit my own phone? Is it right?
Yeah, no, you're preaching to the converted, of course. If
No.
you're trying to say
This phone is mine. Can I inherit this phone?
No, that,
somebody-
you cannot
some-
inherit
of
it.
course it's yours.
It's
Yeah.
mine, yeah?
Yeah.
So he can inherit it if
Yeah,
it's my
because
son.
Yes.
Yes. Or if he's a relative,
No,
or
it's
if you
true.
deem that he can inherit.
Except he
yeah.
changes
According
mind,
to
want
the
give it to
Bible,
somebody
according-
else.
Now again,
Except you want to give
if
it to
he's
somebody.
my only son,
Yes.
he's heir to this phone, right?
Unless you
It's
deem to give it
automatic.
to another person.
It's automatic.
Yeah. Unless you deem to give
Are
it to
you
another person.
quoting the Bible? Inherit? Yeah, exactly.
I can give.
If I'm his only
No,
son.
no, no. According to
All
Bible,
of these people here. they
because
can
in the
come
law,
and
no,
say-
no, 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 laws here, you can give your,
Okay, guys,
you
guys,
can give
thank
your money.